guys, it's Megan, and welcome once again to Allie's Books and Movies. Today I have with me it's a combination video of library haul and sort of TBR, because I don't know if you saw a video from before where I mentioned that I don't like TBRs particularly. I find that they are restrictive. I don't know. I don't like that you plan what you're going to read for the month ahead of time, because what if you go to the library and find something you love, or what if you buy a book that you really want to read right then and there? So I've decided instead I'm not going to forego my TBR jar. What I'm going to do instead is select one at the beginning of every month. I will select one book that I will have to read from this and make it a part of the books that I have to read for the month, so that it's sort of like a compromise. And that way it leaves me free to read whatever it is that I want, or if I find that I'm not going to be able to read as much because I am going back to school next week. Yeah, I figure it's the best scenario, works all the way around. So, the first book that I have here for my little library haul is The Last Dragon by Jane Yolen and Rebecca Guay. I don't know anything about this, and this is very weird for me because normally I have to know what a book is about before I read it. I actually judged the book by its cover and saw dragons and decided to read it. I mean, the artwork doesn't look bad. Not really bad. But I'm interested to see what will happen with that. The next book that I have is Ivy by Sarah Oleksiak. I don't know too much about this either. I kind of judged this by the cover as well. I was just looking in the graphic novel section because I really want to get into reading like way more graphic novels than I have before, because I think I've taken them for granted and like underestimated them as a genre. So this one is about a teenage girl raised by her single mother in Maine, and sort of a coming of age story. I like those. I do. I still like those. So I'm interested to see what happens there. The next book that I have is Out of the Easy by Ruta Sepetys. A few years ago, I read her book Between Shades of Grey, and it was absolutely amazing. I could not put it down because it was just so good. It was such a page-turner. So I'm hoping that this will be the case, because I already know that I love her writing. I believe it is about also a young girl, a teenage girl, and she has grown up being in her mother's shadow because her mother is a prostitute. And she takes place in New Orleans. So I'm intrigued. I think it's going to be really interesting. And the next book that I have is The Virgin Cure by Amy McKay. Amy McKay is kind of infamous for her novel that came out a few years ago called The Birth House. So she's a fairly well-known Canadian authoress. I picked this up because there's a library in my city that is closing and another one is opening up. So as a result of that library closing, they want you to take out as many books as possible, obviously. And so they've given it a due date of December, because that's presumably around the time that the new library will open. So I get to keep this till December, and it's great because I was reading this sort of like catalog of events for the libraries like in my general vicinity, because there's a lot of libraries where I'm from. And so among the list of events was this sort of book club meeting thing where we would discuss The Virgin Cure. And I thought, hey, what I should do now is pick up this while it's here and just keep it with me and read it right before, like right around the time of the book club meeting. Because I figure like all the copies are going to start to disappear fairly soon, because the meeting is in like October, November. So yeah, I decided to be smart with that one. I mean, I'm interested to read it too and see what it's about. The next book that I have here is The Dust of 100 Dogs by A.S. King. I'm excited to read this because I'm getting like towards the end of her anthology. I read Reality Boy, Ask the Passengers, Everybody Sees the Ants. There's this and Please Ignore Vera Dietz. And then her newest one, Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future, is coming out around my birthday. So it's pretty cool that I'll be able to say soon that I've read all of her work. And this one is particularly unique because I'm not so certain that it's contemporary, because it's mentioning pirates. And apparently this girl was a pirate, and she is cursed to live 100 lives as a dog before she can return to her human body with all of those memories intact. So that sounds intense. I'm pretty interested in that and to see what happens there. And then the final one that I have is Jellicoe Road by Melina Marchetta. I don't know too much about this. Ariel Bissett talked about it a bit in one of her videos. Apparently it takes place at a boarding school. A lot of interesting books are ones that feature boarding schools, so I'm interested to see what happens with this. So those are all the books that I have for the library book haul. In terms of what else I'm going to be reading this month, like I mentioned in my last video, I have just started reading When Did You See Her Last?, the second book in the All the Wrong Questions series by Lemony Snicket, which I like so far. And the other one that I'm just started reading, and I'm going to pick it up from the library, but in the meantime, I just sort of have a copy. No need to go into details about that. Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. Morgan Matson also wrote Since You've Been Gone. This I'm interested to read about because I've just heard nothing but great things all over BookTube about this book. So I'm interested to hear their story. So finally, it has come. The time has come to select from the TBR jar. The 100-Foot Journey by Richard C. Moret. I'm excited because the movie just recently came out, and so what I'm going to probably end up doing is compare this to the movie and make a video about it that way. It is about a 3 or 5 Michelin star restaurant owner played by Helen Mirren. And she has a restaurant in France, which is this one. And what happens is this Indian family moves in and opens up a restaurant right across the street. And so it's about that sort of shenanigans. I'm really excited for both of these because I love books about food and I love movies about food. And the guy who directed the movie adaptation is the same guy who, Lasse Hallström, who directed Chocolat, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, partially because it's about food, and I love how he films it, and I'm just really excited. So that's all the books that I have for my sort of September TBR / library book haul. I'm going to try and lift up. And who knows what else I'll end up reading this month. We'll find out in my September wrap-up. But yeah, that's all I have for now. Please let me know in the comments down below if you have read the books that are here on my list, or talk about, I don't know, whether or not you want to read them. I don't know, just leave a comment because I love to hear from you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!